tidak ada had. Kalau pekerja itu bukan manual, clerk is bukan manual. So kalau gaji kerani itu bawah 2,000, yes. Tapi kalau kerani itu sudah gaji lebih daripada 2,000, no. Sebab non manual. Manual tidak ada salary ceiling. Kalau bukan manual, kerani adalah bukan manual. Sebab dia banyak buat kertas, paperwork, tidak payah kuat-kuat saja. Right? So salary ceiling itu digunakan. Right? If the clerk is earning 2,000 and below, it is subject to this minimum wage. But anyway, she is already earning 2,000, so question of minimum wage tak ada lagi. So manual worker, yes, regardless of whatever you earn, you are subject to minimum wage. Right? Manual, yang what do you call it? Manual lah, you banyak guna kekuatan, right? Untuk bekerja itu dipanggil manual. Manual ini tidak didefine dalam Employment Act, right? Dia sebut manual saja. But we understand that what it means manual, you use a lot of physical energy to do the work. Right? Can be skilled, can be unskilled, but manual. Satu lagi, in the event of the month where we have lots of public holiday, the worker do not earn 900. Do we have to top up? Right? Ini berarti pekerja itu bekerja hari, is it? Or piece rated. Right? So piece rated tadi, sebagaimana yang saya telah jelaskan, isu ini memang sudah banyak disuarakan oleh majikan-majikan. Sebab banyak pekerja yang misalnya buat garment, pakaian, right, yang dari batu pahat, for instance, they bring a lot of this issue, right, because they depend on order. Kalau order tak banyak, memang tak banyak nak kerja. Tapi kalau majikan tu terpaksa top up, a bit not very fair because it's not based on productivity, you see. But anyway, this has already been brought up to MPGN for consideration. Can you elaborate more on cash payment as in housing allowance? Cash payment is cash. Sebab kadang-kadang allowance rumah ini, majikan dia bagi rumah free. Dia cakap rumah ini bernilai 200, but bayar duit tak ada. Tapi kalau housing allowance, I give you 200, you cari sendirilah. Itu housing allowance. But if nilai saja, right, misalnya you bagi free housing, nilainya 200, itu tidak boleh digunakan untuk top up. Tapi kalau you bagi cash allowance, ini housing allowance 200, you cari sendiri bilik, itu boleh. Right? Nilai cannot, but real cash which you pay to the workers can be used. Right? Because I understand banyak pekerja asing itu dibagi free accommodation. Tapi bukan duit, free saja. Nilainya begini, itu tak boleh. Tapi isu sekarang, dia mau itu dikira juga. That is the issue at the moment. Banyak sudah diketarakan. Right? We see a lot of that. And we know that it is still under consideration. But we cannot answer because not within our jurisdiction to answer. A lot of questions here. Employee cannot achieve the target. Which said, I think this one is more or less tadi lah, more or less the same nature, right? Yang piece rated tadi tak dapat mencapai target, right? Tapi more or less this one is more on discipline lah. Because kalau dia tak dapat capai target tu memang sudah ditetapkan begini, sudah dipersetujui, kemudian dia tak dapat. So what is wrong with it? Right? Is it too much or he is not working very hard enough? Right? So isu itu perlu dikaji semula. Right? I mean, you have to look at it, right? But it has already been decided between the employer and the worker that the target is this. Right? And previous month he achieved it, but 1 or 2 months later he cannot. What is the issue behind it? If it is discipline, well, it is discipline. So you have to handle it according to your procedure in handling discipline. Is it because he turned up for work, selalu sakit ke, ataupun selalu lambat ke, selalu minta cuti ke? Right? This is the issue which may give rise to that kind of productivity, which cannot meet the target. We are paying insurance and levy. I think this one is more or less the same thing. I mean, employers of foreign workers, right? You are required to pay so many things: levy, insurance, and hospital. What do you call it? For foreign workers hospital, right? And of course, transport, housing, and maybe food. So issue itu sudahlah. I mean, we know it. But if it is raised up again, we will bring it up again, right? Because we want to tell that this issue is of concern to many employers. PCT technology, tampoi, can we exclude? Sama like ini. Can we exclude foreign workers from the minimum wage? It's the same issue, right? If not, then what are the allowances like levy, transport can be included into the minimum wage? Levy, hostel, right? This accommodation, transport, again. This one is the same issue. I mean, it has been brought up and for consideration. I learned about it in the paper. I mean, this is quite a hot issue at the moment concerning foreign workers. Actually, all these are concerning foreign workers, right? I mean, as I've said earlier, as we have heard from the Majikan, local workers memang tak ada issue. Only foreign workers, right?
I think we open to the floor again. 有中文的也可以哦，中文的。等一下。来，你太多了。
没有，我很简单的，你 feedback 是跟 National Wage Council negotiate 还是你跟 Ministry negotiate？ 你的 feedback 会 feedback 给谁？你是跟国家那个National Wages Council 还是 Ministry of Manpower？ Can I know? Can I have clarification from the chairman, please?
Council
是 council 啦。
Council.
所以他们有没有 jurisdiction impose 这个 law? There's a question I'd like to know.
But
do they have jurisdiction? Because all this act, it must be go to a parliament to pass such that it can be implemented on nationwide. Can I know the answer for that?
Pass in parliament, is it?
Yeah, have it been passed in parliament?
Yes.
Or it has been passed?
Yes.
So this dialogue is basically for us to feedback. Does it have any effect effectively? May I know that? Or can we KIV, like certain issues that you need to say constant dialogue with them? So can we KIV the payment for this January? Is it allowable?
I think feedback you can give any time to the Majelis Perundingan Gaji Negara.
So this act is
imposed
immediately.
Yeah,
Thank you.
The act has been passed, yes. But the one which I gave you is not act, itu bukan law, itu guidelines saja. Right? The act, yes, it has been passed quite long ago.
Tuan, kepada kawan yang peladang, bagaimana kepada yang peladang tu, yang kepada kelapa sawit, pekerja dari kelapa sawit, mereka terserah pada productivity adalah pergi potong, harvest dan ikut kepada tonnage. Mereka tidak akan ikut kepada money. Kalau tidak, itu ladangnya ada 500 hektar, 5,000 hektar. Bagaimana mereka pergi carikan nak potong harvest itu balik ke sini untuk timbang, dan mereka punya gaji terserah pada keberatan untuk tetapkan rezeki pada hari itu. Adakah ini mereka akan bayar kepada mereka 900 langsung, atau mereka akan ikut apa yang seterusnya? Dan memang beza. Peladang is, as you said, manual, mereka gunakan tenaga yang kuat untuk pergi carikan, untuk pergi potongkan kelapa sawit dari ladang dalam dan bawa keluar. Itu sebab adakah minimum salary wages langsung apply 900 tanpa ikut kepada keberatan itu, tonnage. Ini hadapi soalan kepada peladang.
Okay, morning. Tuan Pengarah, I'm Lau from Batu Pahat. I think listen a lot of this foreign, but one thing is that what happened our Malaysia government, policy maker cannot deliver so-called, or you got the act mentioned 10,000 per worker. It's not per one time, just what I mentioned. It's per worker. So left only about 13 days. If we didn't go in comply, are we going to penalize? So my question is that, are we going to penalize if we didn't follow the act? Thank you.
Very good morning to the panelists, chairman, and the director from the district labor office. Actually, just now the gentleman asking whether this act already been passed by the parliament or not. I think I have the one to answer him. The act already passed by the parliament and is already gazetted in 16th of July of 2012. Mr. Director, that I still remember that last month on the 18th of December, I attended a forum which is organized by the IRDA, and the panelist was the NMWC Secretary, Mr. Shamugan. The same question that I posed to him, and I say that the same opinion, the same comments from the audience to him also, but he couldn't answer us also. And also the same question I asked it to him, that whether this will be implemented in 1st of January of this year. Then he said yes, definitely. So because of that, I already do my presentation and briefing to my workers. And we are the MNC company, that we have about 1,000 workers. So we call them by session and finish the briefing saying that there is a restructure of the the minimum wage. But now again, we have some news from the government or some news from the paper, from the government through the paper saying that there are certain allowance, a certain levy, something like that can be deducted from the workers. So we are very confused now. Not only me, I think a lot of my friends in the HR, as a HR practitioner, very confusing. And don't forget, today is already 28, another 2 days will be cut off date for this month. Another 7 days or 5 days we have to calculate for the salary for the workers. So please, give us a direction, a really clear direction. What should we do now? Are we just paying the salary like normal as what does 900, or we can deduct the levy from the workers? So please give us a clear direction, a clear instruction. I think a suggestion from me that maybe Tuan can print out the start presentation that's just now brought up by the Tuan to the audience, and then they can have a very clear picture of the how to do this Gaji minimum. And one more comment is from me is that according to the guidelines from the NMWC, that we can do appeal for the deferment of the salary for this Gaji minima. We also follow the rules. We submitted the appeal letter. We buy the application into a book form like these size, We submit to them before the 2nd of October. But unfortunately, and very sad and very disappointed, last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks, we have a reply from them saying that your application already been ditolak. No answer, no reason. What is it? What is it? We are as a HR in the company, we cannot answer our senior management. And one more thing, because of this Gaji minimum, it is a very serious impact to us. I just simple count that 1 month additional cost we have to pay about 250,000 to 300,000. Come to 1 year, it is about 3-point-something million. So again, will this MNC will stay in our country or not? One day or sooner or later, because of the cost burden, maybe they will switch to another country. Please bring it up to the NWMC or to our PM. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to ask, for those new foreign workers that just arrived for 1 month, are they entitled for the minimum 900 salary?
Again, that one is policy, you see. But as it stands now, yes. As it stands now.
Then the worker will be making noise. It's unfair to them as well also.
Anyway, I think policy, I cannot answer that yet. Because a lot of issues on foreign worker has been asked, you see. It's the same nature, actually, because it involves foreign worker. Tadi piece rated yang pekerja sawit tu, right, memang, right, kerja sawit tu memang piece rated, right, very few yang ada gaji bulan kalau you tumbuk sawit itu. But then again, This issue also, especially in Sabah, is a hot issue. A lot of planters are talking about piece rated, right? Because strictly speaking, sebagaimana yang I explain to you tadi, kalau pekerja itu piece rated dan gaji dia tak cukup, majikan perlu menambah supaya cukup. Tapi isu ini memang right from the very beginning. Memang it's already more or less, how to call it, even from the very first dialogue we have with employers in Johor, this piece rated worker is already, how to call it, many people are unhappy about it. Because, say, what I call it, a dressmaking factory, right? You produce according to your order. If in that month your order is so little, and the worker definitely cannot earn 900. Begitu juga di ladang-ladang yang sawit tu, yang tumbuk buah tu, semua pakai piece rated. 1 ton, how much do you get? Right? But sometimes, because of weather, I mean, worker cannot work, or sometimes the worker themselves fall sick or cuti, or whatever reason it is yang menyebabkan ianya tidak dapat dicapai, right? So dalam keadaan yang demikian, right, taklimat, guideline yang dibagi oleh MPJN tu, dia tidak dapat menggambarkan bagaimana keadaan yang sebegitu kendalikan. But one suggestion was that you change your payment from piece rated to daily rated, right? And then you pay according to the number of days they work, right? Itu adalah salah satu daripadanya. But menukar sistem, how do you payment, mode of payment itu agak susah. But the practice in ladang is you pay according to tonnage, right? That is the practice anyway, right? In Semenanjung, in Sabah, in Sarawak, ianya sama, right? So kadang-kadang susah untuk bekerja itu mendapat 900 karena sebab-sebab yang tertentu. Misalnya kalau yang selalu hujan, biasanya sawit itu tak ada yang ripen, right? So kalau you tumbuk yang masih mentah pun tidak juga, tak boleh sebab ianya tidak dapat dijual. So a lot of factors come in, and these are the micro thing, the real thing happening on the ground, which must be taken into consideration. So it has to be forwarded up. So that question tadi yang ditanya pasal kelapa sawit memang very difficult to answer. And a lot of people, especially in Sabah, bringing up the issue because there are a lot of plantation in Sabah. So levy to be deducted, we want clear guidance or clear instruction. Difficult. Again, policy matter, we cannot answer it. Right? Just giving you the assurance that we will bring it up. Right? It has been brought up again, and we are bringing it up again and again. As long as people bring it up, we will bring it up. So the number of that complaint keep on increasing, meaning to say more and more people, a big number of employers are very concerned about levy. Right? Any more question?
Sini ada sama related question. Ini daripada Muhammad Yasin bin Maidin. Saya rasa Cik Muhammad Yasin kasih kita satu soalan yang panjang. Boleh tak you ringkaskan nanti bagi saya? Saya nanti you ringkaskan. Saya tengok you punya soalan ni, Malaysia will soon go bankrupt. Dia kata Malaysia akan bankrupt. I cannot understand your long question here. Maybe you can summarize for me. No, this one, take a seat first because we are going for the written question first. And then ini seterusnya daripada Muhammad Hairul Nizam. Hairul Nizam ini daripada Pekan Nenas. Dia kata adakah semua majikan dimestikan, diwajibkan adakah diwajibkan, dan bayaran gaji minima tersebut akan mempengaruhi kadar bayaran overtime dan setiap allowance This one, another one is talking about, I think this is another, okay. Will Labour Office start the enforcement and start the penalty? This is very much concern us. Labour Office start the enforcement and penalize us. And I have submitted a few, the application to the, I think this is referring to the NWCC, but I did not receive any answer from them, MPGN. So may I know, will they issue the letter to me? And if I received the letter only after 1st of July. So how am I going to do for those that I have already paid? So January, February, March until June, he already paid the new salary. But then when he received the letter from the MPGN, so how am I going to do? So another one is the details of the foreign worker is actually not announced yet. So will JTK going to compound us? Same thing? Because not announced yet. So how can you compound us? Can you? And then another one is implementation of the minimum wages. We need the funding from the government. This is the finance issue. I don't think so. You want to answer? And why make quick the announcement and then to implement but delay again in the revision and to pay with the old salary or minimum wages? I think Tuan, these are the few questions for you. Ini siapa ni? Muhammad Yasin, boleh tolong tak ringkaskan you punya jawab soalan? Mana Cik Yas? A point. So Malaysia will soon bankrupt. Is it your question? Okay. Thank you very much. So
Okay, itu opinion lah. Malaysia will go bankrupt. Okay, itu tak payah komen lah. But itu opinion. Right? Alright. SME pay high cost, especially foreign workers, less profit and no profit. Why always make quick announcement to implement but delay in revision? Now is the end of the month, so if make what shall the employer do to pay or right? This one is again on policy. So if you have asked for deferment and you have not received any reply, you ask MPGN, right? Not bukan labor department. Right? So yang sepatutnya memberi reply to MPGN, right? So why always make quick announcement to implement but delay and review? Again, susah mau jawab ini lah. Ini bukan peringkat saya ini. Right? Since the full detail have not been confirmed by government, so employers have is going to compound. Very difficult question because again it depends on direction from the top. But strictly speaking, it starts on the 1st of January 2013. So legally, the law is there. It is enforceable. But how it should be implemented, whether you strictly penalize, you strictly compound, well, it depends on what we get from the top. This one is, I have submitted the application for penundaan, but I did not receive any reply from MPGN. May I know, will they issue a letter to us? If MPGN approve the application, let us to implement the on 1117, what we need to calculate back the salary. Kalau you tidak dapat jawapan daripada MPGN, you require but MPGN. But kalau misalnya you menunggu jawapan daripada MPGN, adakah misalnya you harap you dapat penundaan sampai 1 bulan 7, kemudian tidak di-approve? Right? Soalannya adalah calculate the back salary from the 2013 and pay to the workers. Alright, kalau you tak dapat, you should be given the reply already because the reply is already there. Right? Memang sudah ada. So what's wrong with yours? I don't know. Memang sudah di reply ini. Right? Dan on areas itu, would we need to calculate the back with MPGN approved application? Okay, misalnya if you apply for penundaan on to the 1st of July and you get it later on, would you calculate the areas? I was told you need not. Itu I was told by MPGN verbally. secara mulut. Right. So misalnya you apply for deferment, and then di jawapan itu lambat diterima. So you ask whether you need to pay back yang bulan 1 sampai bulan 6. I was told verbally it is not, right? Meaning to say you don't have to pay the areas, right? Verbally saja. Will department start enforcement and start a penalty? Right, again, this one is the same thing, right? Memang strictly speaking, yes, because it starts on the 1st of January. But of course, we have to ask for direction as well from the top level. Adakah pelaksanaan gaji minimum ini dimastikan bagi pekerja, bagi ke semua majikan? Yes, at the moment yes, semua kena. Yang besar, yang kecil, yang profesional pun semua bayar gaji minimum, tak ada yang dikecualikan, except for employees. Right, employees tu kalaunya apprentice tidak dikenakan gaji minimum. Kalaunya professional, for the first 6 months you can deduct 30%. Right. Kalau ianya domestic worker, like domestic maid, memang tak subject. So if you employ somebody to do domestic work, you don't worry about gaji minimum. You decide your own, whatever pay you agree between you and the worker. Right. Bayaran gaji minimum tersebut akan mempengaruhi kadar bayaran OT. Yes, because it has to be based on at least 900 tadi. Kalau gaji minimum tu 900, kalau gaji minimum tu kalau gaji tu memang sudah lebih tinggi lah, right? But at least 900 atau apa ni, setiap allowance, right? I mean how do you call it, statutory allowance, right? Memang kena. Sebab kalau ini berdasarkan ORP ya, ordinary rate of pay, memang akan terlibat juga gaji minimum ini. So of course it will directly increase your operational cost.
Okay, I think we open to the last round. Sekarang dah 11:40. Last round to the floor. Jadi ini peluang terakhir kalau kita nak buat apa-apa Q&A sekarang ni. Silakan. Beratur, kalau ada terus beratur kat belakang saja.
Good morning, Tuan Pengarah. You see, as all the while, Tuan Pengarah also cannot answer a lot of issues, a lot of questions. We are as confused as like you. So the MGM there also a lot of directors I suppose also very confused. Why not we strongly appeal that the implementation date should be postponed again? Just like we postponed the petrol price. We postponed almost 10 times the petrol price up. When? The petrol price. Almost 10 times we postponed. This only 2-3 times is nothing. I think you should urge the government to postpone again. You know why? I have 6 months deferment. But what happened? My neighbor here implement, I don't implement. Then I need to invite the pengarah to come to my factory to explain to my workers, you know. Correct or not? Yes. You know how? They will strike. They will damage the factory. The foreign workers, they are very violent. We need to invite the pengarah to come to a factory to help us to solve the problem, you know. So we strongly urge Tuan Pengarah help us to appear to the MGM to defer again maybe 1 month, 2 months, because only left 10 days to meet the gaji, and our gaji are all computerized. How to get the software TikTok to get the things out? Correct or not? So we cannot be done. We left only about 10 days to pay the salary. We need to postpone, if not, masalah besar Tuan Pengarah. Really masalah besar. For everybody, we need to postpone again. Maybe 1 month, 2 months. If not, really cannot how? Left 10 days only. And then the things still not clear. Pengarah also cannot answer. We also confused. Oh, thank you, Pengarah.
Good morning, sir. My name is Sri from Vincent, Pekalinas. Again, I'm going to emphasize on these foreign workers. Myself, as a Malaysian, so-called local worker, is it fair for us compare with foreign workers? They are earning same salary as us. Are we Malaysian or we are somewhere in other country? You are giving more importance for the foreign workers. How about Malaysian? Of course, you are increasing salary for Malaysian as well. But foreign workers, why should government want to increase? We are giving so many, as the speaker already explained, what are the benefits are giving for the foreign workers. And we facing a lot of problems. People want to mogok. Last time, employer, foreign workers takut kepada majikan pekerja asing. Sekarang vice versa. Majikan kena takut dengan pekerja asing. Sebelum ini, yang first ini adalah implementation second. For the first 6P, government introduced this 6P. Foreign workers, apa jadi? Mereka jadi monyet, suka lompat ke company yang mereka suka. Majikan mengalami terlalu banyak masalah untuk menyelesaikan masalah ini. Then government giving again a second problem for employer to solve. The government is equalizing everybody. As human being, you can equalize. As a Malaysian, I'm totally disagree with the government for increasing foreign worker salary. And one more thing, let's say if the foreign workers mogok, government can send someone to our company or any other company to explain. We are tired of talking to our foreign workers. We are really tired. They don't understand. We can't speak Bangla, we can't speak Nepal, we can't speak Vietnam or whatever language for foreign workers are. But they don't listen to majikan. We want people from government, the person in charge, come to our company, explain to workers. And we want the answer very soon. Today is 25th already. We just left few days for the salary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please give us the answer as soon as possible. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Lu. I would like to ask one question. I don't want to complain. I think so many complaints but no answer. Orang atas yang buat keputusan. So one feedback I want to bring it up is that I have a communication session with my workers. The local workers are not happy because their salary may be increased by 20% as compared to the foreign workers. They are increased 64% from 546 basic increase to 900 basic. So please bring it up to NWCC or government. Ask them to listen to the workers' comment, not employer itself. My first question is that if the workers are actually paid daily wages and when the company's orders are low, and most of the time we will cut down the overtime or even cutting down the working days before we need to exercise any retrenchment. Of course, based on the labor law, minimum working days must be 14 days, right? So if daily wages system with a low orders seasons and the workers are not able to get 900, let's say 16 working days or 17 working days only, 4 days work per week. So the employer, is it must top up to 900 or not? This is my first question. The second question is that some of the workers are paid with an incentive. So incentive, is it required to calculate into the overtime as ORP requirement? So basically these are two questions for me.
Okay, this will be the last person to bring up the question.
Okay, good morning. My name is Gary Lim. So the question whether Malaysia will go bankrupt or not, I'm not sure. worker, but I'm very sure that my company will go bankrupt. Okay, all the questions I have basically all have been raised and discussed, but very disappointing. There's no solution for it. Almost all problem highlight that you have to refer to top level. But it's sad to say that my top level cannot wait. My top level also have their own planning. We are a foreigner investor company. So they start planning whether to stay or to remove to other country. Please consider. I'm going to be jobless. And all others. I think it's same, this problem will happen to all others. Please, this is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Postponement tadi itu because my answer is always I cannot decide. Higher authority because you always raise the issue which I cannot decide. So memang right policy di foreign worker memang tak boleh, itu memang orang lain yang decide. So we cannot decide whether levy can be deducted, housing allowance can be added up to the wages to make it 900. Policy, as I've said earlier, memang we cannot decide. It's outside our jurisdiction. So postponement, the most we can do is, right? We just inform the higher authority. And this information we can email to NPGN today. There's no problem with that. Right? On our part, we can fulfill our obligation. Right? Right? Foreign workers benefits, right? Because foreign workers benefit actually. Foreign workers, the permit is by immigration, not labor department. Actually, we have no control on the employment of foreign worker. So free housing, free transport itu syarat dia orang. It's not ours. And again, workers who are paid on daily basis, right? What is your minimum number? What is your ordinary number of days work in a month? 5 days work per week, and there's about 20 days. But sometimes you don't fulfill it because of what? Is it because the order is not there or?
Yeah, of course, when there's a low season, low orders, before the company exercise retrenchment, we need to cut down the overtime and also cutting down the working days. So I think many companies are working 4 days work or 3 days work, even worse. So if a daily wages with a 4 days work, you will not be able to meet the 900.
No, because if it is 4 days is the ordinary working days for the company, right? You pay according to what has been given just now. That means the way you calculate it, is it?
No. Normally I'm paying at 5 days work.
I see.
But let's say if the orders is low, we need to cut down the overtime.
I see.
We won't apply to the labor office. We want to shut down.
I see.
Shut down the operation. Based on the Labor Act, minimum working days must be 14 days in a month, right? So let's say if I apply shut down to the labor office and my working days is only 14 days or 15 days. So you multiply the rate, daily rate, you will not be able to get 900. So is it the employer must top up to 900?
I think if there is a special permission, like you say, it's something different from this, from the condition which I've just told you. Because you have a special permission to work that number of days because of low demand or what is it. So it is with the permission, of course, it's different. And incentive, you were talking about incentive. If it is a cash payment incentive, it has to be in. It can be used to top up and, of course, over time, all based on that, is it? If it is incentive, it's paid fixed every month in cash. Because some incentive like attendance allowance, for instance, those are one of the some incentives which can be paid by the employer to encourage people to turn up for work. That can be used to top up the salary from less than 900 to make it 900 or what is it? So it is not below the basic wage.
So those are like attendance allowance, all these things you understand. What I'm talking about is incentive. For example, there are certain works that require, we give them a special incentive. For example, they are operating the X-ray machine. So So the company is providing the incentive for that special or unique workers.
I see.
So this incentive, when we adjusted to the minimum wage of 900, so this incentive we will continue to give because this is not an ordinary job for the operators. So this incentive required to come back into overtime or not, you asking?
It is, because it is cash payment and very regular, see? So it will be used in the calculation of ORP, ordinary rate of pay. Because when you calculate overtime, you have to go for ordinary rate of pay first. And if it is cash payment and very regular, I mean, you pay it because of the contract of service, it becomes wages as defined in the law, in Employment Act. So, I think that one is a good question. Like, I mean, that we can answer, not like foreign worker levy or where policy matters. Apa lagi ya, sudah?
I think to recap this Q&A session, maybe I would like to double confirm with Tuan Encana. If anything that I may say wrongly, please have to correct me. Okay, the recap number one. After we have received 16 and 6. We are seeing 16 queries and 12 written questions. Altogether, we have 28 inquiries just now. So now we can conclude that number one, for any employees, they newly joined the company, the first 6 months, we pay them only 630 ringgit. Correct? For new employees.
What I was saying is, what the guideline says, new employees under probation, the salary can be deducted 30% for the first 6 months if the probationary period is more than 6 months, right? It depends, because the probationary period is between the employer and the employee. You decide. So the employer cakap, okay, you dalam percubaan 1 tahun. So for the first 6 months, gaji boleh kurang 30%. That is what I said.
So put it this way, under our layman term, this is a JTK term. Layman term, any new workers join the company under the probation for the first 6 months, we are allowed to pay them 630 ringgit. Okay.
That is 30% less.
Less than 900, so that is 630 ringgit. So I try to convey in my language. So 任何员工在试用期的头6个月我们只需要付他630块钱，这个清楚新工人 under probation 就是试用期，就是还没有 confirm 的 ，not yet confirm, right? Under probation， so 630块，不是900块清楚Madeline， 你的问题其实已经在这边。What about the foreign worker? This one apply to the foreign worker also? So actually, you are paying the foreign worker. So we don't need to pay any allowance for this 630 ringgit. No other allowances. Is that okay?
No, the amount can be less than 30%, but by 30%. So meaning to say, if it is 30% less than from 900, 600 something, is it?
630
so it's okay. I mean, the amount is already less than 30%.
So 630, you don't need to pay any other allowances. Yes.
Overtime computation.
630, yes.
Okay.
For the first 6 months under probation period. Okay, the second one is talking about the minimum basic pay. Basic pay, according to what Tuan Encana has mentioned, make up 900, but this 900 may include food. Please correct me, this is very important. Very, very important. 900 may include food allowance, attendance allowance, shift allowance, housing allowance, not hostel, housing allowance in cash, okay, and transport allowance, not traveling allowance. 大家清楚吗? This is clear, right? This is very important. 900块钱, I just repeat again to double confirm. 900 ringgit basic salary may include food, attendance, shift, housing allowance, not hostel, housing allowance, and transport allowance, not the traveling allowance. You want to add?
Yeah. Transport allowance is not the same as traveling allowance. I mean, traveling allowance is for you to travel, right? You travel to KL, I pay you $200 per day. So your hostel, your food, you handle yourself, but as long as I pay you that. Transport is something like you own a motorcycle, you own a car, I give you 200, I give you 50 ringgit per month for you to buy fuel. Not value, it must be the actual money, right? Because it is more or less the same nature as housing allowance. I don't give you free room, I don't give you free hostel, but I just give you 200. You look for a room yourself, I give you 200 cash. Tidak cukup, you cari tambah sendiri. Kalau lebih, simpan juga. Yang lebih.
Okay, the basic salary, as what I mentioned, I just want to repeat again in Chinese. 900块钱的最低薪金可以包括食物津贴哦，勤工津贴、轮班津贴，还有就是住宿津贴，但是不是 hostel 啊，不是那个宿舍啊。那么还有另外一个是交通津贴。And maybe plus other as well. I only mention these few are quite major and quite regular. Yes, and the standing allowance, hit allowance, all this. But I think this is more common. Tidak wajar. So this is actually not mentioned by me, but rather the Tuan Pengarah. I worry somebody will quote me. No, I got the confirmation from Tuan Pengarah. The basic salary, I want to repeat again. The basic salary you may include. Kita boleh masukkan ya, termasuk makanan, allowance makan, allowance kedatangan, allowance shift, allowance penginapan ya, tapi bukan hostel, allowance penginapan tapi bukan hostel, dan allowance transport, bukan travelling ya. Paham ya? This I always receive call for this question. And the third one is talking about the levy. I think our Tuan Pengarah give no answer because probably our DPM, Deputy Prime Minister, will make announcement next week. Hopefully before end of the month. And number 4, we are allowed to make a one time of restructure of our existing salary package due to the implementation of minimum wages of 900 ringgit. I just want to repeat, confirm my statement. We are allowed to make one time of restructuring of our existing salary package due to the implementation of minimum wages. Please double confirm. Please double confirm.
It's the guideline. Right. Guideline is given by MPGN, but of course it's only guideline. Right. It's not law. Just guideline only. So you must remember it's guideline.
Guideline means what, Tuan? Are we allowed to do that? Sometimes guideline very confused.
Guideline has no effect of law. I mean, we cannot sue you in court or prosecute you on no basis because guideline is supposed to help you.
Yes,
right.
Tuan, my soalan is yes or no only. We can or we cannot, please.
What was it? Can you say it again?
We can restructure our existing salary package. Can or cannot?
You can. It's allowed.
Thank you. Give a big hand to Tuan Pengarah. Okay, my subsequent question for this can is, this is very serious already.
Okay.
Maybe now I am giving hostel to my employees. So under the restructuring process, I want to take away, cancel my hostel, convert it into housing allowance. Is that allowed?
Well, this one is a bit difficult because you...
Yes or no only, Tuan, please.
Because you changed the contract of service.
Are we allowed to change the contract? I thought you said we can restructure the salary package.
No. Again, I say this is a code. Right? A guidance. Right? It has no effect on law. Right? If you change it after the implementation of the minimum wage, we cannot prosecute you. I mean, this one has no effect for law because it's just guidance. So I think you know what it means. Just to guide you. This guideline is prepared by MPGN to give guidelines to help employers and workers and companies to implement the minimum wage. The advice is to implement, to restructure before the implementation. Before, that is the advice given by MPGN. But if you still, there is a need to relook at the matter after the implementation to solve the problem, by all means you just go on. Right? We cannot prosecute you on this guideline. This is not a legal thing, just guidelines only.
I'm still a little bit confused. You see, just now you say the basic salary just now you already confirmed my second statement. basic salary can include food, attendance, take away my shift, and I put that, I restructured that into my basic salary already. Everything still add up to be 900. So now because we are saying that hostel is not included. So under this restructuring, we want to cancel off. Just like my statement number 2, remember? You may include the housing allowance. So I want to change my hostel into housing allowance. Instead, I give you the house, I give you the money, you go and rent it yourself. 1 plus 1 is actually equal to 2 only, Tuan. Don't make us go and think why 2.
No. I think this one, because foreign workers, as I said earlier, the permit is by immigration, and the terms and the conditions of employment also is by immigration. It's not labor department. So if the terms and conditions says free accommodation, so meaning to say it has to be free accommodation. You cannot convert it to say, I give you money and then you look for a room yourself. But immigration department must come in because they are the one who approve the permit for employing foreign workers.
We still remain at the number 4, statement number 4. That means under this restructure of our one-time off salary, we may take away some of the allowances already. Can we are allowed to do that? Please loud and clear, yes or no? Yes. You say no use. We want to. So we are going to take away, we are going to abolish some of the allowances by now.
Actually, you don't abolish.
You're going to add into the basic salary.
You don't abolish. Basic pay is basic pay is basic pay is 650. Maid allowance is 150. Shift allowance is 200. Attendance allowance, you put it that way. Okay. You don't abolish as long as the total is 900.
Oh, okay. You place on here, yes.
Hello, I think we no point go around the bush lah. It's a chicken or egg situation lah. I think best thing now is I think off we go and then wait for 1 month and see what happens. Hopefully Tuan Pengala don't prosecute us. Correct lah. Yes, we run around the bush. Until tonight 6 o'clock also no answer one. So best thing is we wait for 1 month and hope Pengala another 1-2 months don't prosecute us.
Yes, sir. This is a very good proposal, but I'm afraid Tuan Pengarah cannot do that decision on our behalf. But somehow we still have to get a few things in proper order, so we are certain with all the statement that we gathered the Q&A during the Q&A time. So we can remain the basic salary and then plus all this, but then the overtime must based on 900 to calculate.
Yes,
that is the answer for it. Okay. So number 5. You see, since until today we have no answer for it, can we allow to do back pay?
I think before that, 2 times I went to labor office. They also give me the same answer that the overtime rate is subjective. Depends on the negotiation in between the employee and the employer. Both parties agree. They don't want to bother on this thing. Please confirm this.
Yeah, Tuan, please.
Overtime is based on what I call it, the wages of the worker. I mean, basic wage plus all the cash payment. Right? Basic wage plus all the cash payment, and overtime will be based on that because ORP, ordinary rate of pay. Right? So if the basic wage is say 600, and then cash payment like shift allowance, housing allowance, food allowance or shift allowance added together, and overtime will be based on that because that is the actual the wages. Right? ORP, ordinary rate of pay, is calculated based on that. And that will, of course, determine the overtime, right? Because overtime is 1.5. Right? Actually, I think this overtime issue is not related to this minimum wage. I mean, long ago it has been decided by Employment Act. Right? Basic wage or plus or the cash payment, right? So your overtime will be based on that, except traveling allowance, except bonus, or any benefits in value. That one you cannot include if it is just in value.
Okay, so however, the overtime must be based on 900. That is the answer for it. Okay, so the back pay is allowed. If they say the decision is not made yet, so maybe some of the employers is based on the old salary to pay their employees. So once announced next week, maybe are they allowed to back pay? Or maybe they have already paid, but next month after the announcement, can they deduct back if they already overpaid, for example?
This is what I was told. If the employer applies for deferment, and then the answer only comes in July, question is, are they required, if they are given the permission to defer, are they required to pay arrears for June, May, April, blah, 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 until January? I was given to verbally by NPGN. The answer is no arrears. That's what I was told by NPGN, right? No need for arrears. That is what I was told, right? Because some employers apply for deferment, you see, and then the answer comes late. You are supposed to start implementing the minimum wage on 1/1/2013, and then the reply come very late. So question is, do we need to, if you are given the permission to pay the arrears? The answer is no. That's what I was told. Verbally only. Right. But it is from MPGN.
Okay. Okay, number 6, the last one. Also mentioned in some of the written questions, if we don't follow, what will be the consequences if we don't follow?
Well, this one is implemented on the 1st of January 2013, so the law is in effect. So meaning to say it can be enforced. It can be enforced. But of course, frankly speaking, we also need to seek advice from our superiors, right? Should we prosecute straight away? Should we compound straight away? Or should we just go on giving advice or persuasion or further guidance? That is, of course, for us to talk to our superior, right? I think that is a bit on policy also.
I think in general, from the feedback that we received so far, we support the local workers, and of course, that may translate into what just now Tuan Pengarah has said also. This could be an opportunity for us to trigger for a higher income, which I believe most of the Malaysian employers, especially the SME, are supporting the High Income Society Vision 2020. And to implement on the foreign worker, of course, many people also brought up, they have a big doubt, why are we doing that? And many questions that we put up also, we do not have an official firm answer from our JTK, which we are very disappointed on one hand. So somebody also suggests, since we could not get a firm and certain answer from the relevant department, might as well Tuan Pengarah really suggest to the ministry to postpone the whole thing until the further notice.